Yo, what's up guys? So this week we've got another mistakes video planned, and I'm going to cover two big mistakes that I see pretty often. And recently I've been spending a lot of time in the kite forums, checking out the Facebook groups, and I'm seeing a lot of misinformation get spread around. So I wanted to touch on two things that I think are really important for riders who are A, hungry to progress, or B, maybe you're plateaued, you've been stuck for a while, and you can't seem to move forward with the things that you're trying. And even if you're a new rider, I think you'll find this video helpful. So let's dive right into it. So getting right into it, mistake number one. One of the most often repeated things that I see in kiteboarding is that kiteboarding is 80%, 90%, 95% kite control and like 1% board control or whatever. And this is true if you're an absolute rank beginner. You're just getting into the sport, you know nothing. Yeah, you do need to learn the kite. It's super important for your lesson, super important for like maybe the first 3 to 6 months of riding. But a more accurate description of this would be it's 50-50, guys. It's kite boarding, it's not kiting. So if you find yourself 6 months in, a year in, and you're still 100% focused on your kite skills, you're going to be held back. And let me give you an example of where this would work in a real world application. So let's go with the most popular category now, which is big air. So if you're a big air rider, yeah, kiting skills are super important because you need to know how to do kite loops. You need to have that control to flick the kite and have your timing down and all of that to get the maximum amount of air. But there's a whole nother half of that equation. For example, when you see a rider like hopping and then they land into a scoop and load to get like extra air, tons of little board hacks like that, being able to hold down your edge, knowing the appropriate angle to get maximum speed, when to release your edge, all that good stuff. So for big air, maybe it's like 60 kite, 40 board or something like that. If you look at a discipline like park style or freestyle or something like that, that might actually be something more like 60% board and 40% kite, because those guys are doing more of a crossover. They're doing more board related things. And I personally have taught wakeboarders who are competition level wakeboarders, and 4 hours of kite time, put them on the water, went out, toe side, off a kicker, did an inverted handle pass, landed, rode away, then backstalled the kite. So you can see, like, when it comes to freestyle tricks and things like that, board skills actually come into play quite a bit more, because this guy was doing high level tricks that only 1% of kiteboarders can do 4 hours into flying his kite. 3 months of mastering the kite, he would be one of the world's best kiteboarders. So an example where it might be a 50-50 split is, let's say you want to get into wave riding. Now, if you're a good surfer, you're going to be leagues ahead of anybody else who's just coming in and completely neglects the surfing side of things. You won't really know how to use the board, you won't know how to ride a wave, you won't know how to hit the good sections, you won't be able to read the waves and all the things that make up a good surfer, right? So if we see a lot of kiters going out on their surfboards and they're relying too much on the kite. They're not really riding the board, they're not really surfing the waves. They're getting pulled into the waves, in and out, they're not always in the right section, and then when it comes down to it, they're never actually really riding the wave. Now, if you take the time to learn how to surf, maybe even do a bit of cross training, learn how to paddle out into the waves, spend a bunch of time learning those board fundamentals, when you come back, you're gonna be a kite wave surfer. And kind of a fun side note, a lost art in wave riding that we saw a decade ago is unhooked wave riding, which is not really as intense as you might think. It's actually pretty chill, but it's just when you disengage from the harness, you open your body up so that you can actually surf the wave like a real surfer. And you probably won't hear about this at all because nobody talks about it anymore, nobody thinks about it anymore, but it's one of those things where if you're actually a surfer and you crossed over, you're going to enjoy it significantly more, learning how to power your kite, depower your kite with the edge of that surfboard and ride the wave. And there's times when you need to be hooked in and times when it's going to be more fun to unhook in the waves. But that's a really good example of why it's a 50-50 split. So mistake number 2 is kiteboarding. It's a hobby, it's a lifestyle, and it's a sport. So I think a lot of times people forget that kiteboarding is also a sport and all the things that this entails. Now, if you're just a rider who wants to get out and have fun on the weekends, this doesn't matter so much. But if you're hungry to progress, if you want to move forward, you might want to consider your fitness. If you're going out there with an electric pump and you don't want to get your heart rate up when you're getting out and ready to session, probably the wrong mindset. And obviously if you're a rider who just wants to get out and chill and have fun, this doesn't apply, don't worry about it. But like I said, if you're hungry to progress, this is a factor you need to consider. So things that you can do is work on your cardio. So get out there, start going for runs, do anything, biking, whatever it is to get your heart rate up a couple times a week, stick within the guidelines, and focus on that for a while, and you'll have more energy for your sessions, more endurance, you're gonna feel better, you're going to find things that once took a lot of energy from you, now give you energy. So cardio is here, huge. It's one that I forget all the time myself. Whenever I start running 3 times a week, I find that my kiteboarding vastly improves. I'm getting longer sessions, I'm feeling better. And then as well, your strength. In a lot of kiteboarding, it's a lot of core strength, a lot of leg strength, and the ability to move your body through space. So you can choose pretty much any fitness program you want. My recommendation is get into whatever one you enjoy the most that you're going to stick to, and I may do some other fitness videos in the future and talk about those. If you guys want to hear them, let me know in the comments. But yeah, start weight training, yoga, or my personal favorite is calisthenics. So like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, squats with body weight, single leg squats, things like that, because you're moving your body through space just like kiteboarding. But another huge part of this equation ties back into the first mistake that I mentioned in this video. And this comes back to cross-training. So if you're practicing a certain discipline, a part of progress is deliberately focusing on a certain thing. So whether you're trying to move forward with a handle pass, or dropping in on a wave, or even big air and kite loops and all that, you need to get repetition in. And one of the best ways to get repetition in, because it's not always windy, is practicing whatever the closest crossover sport is. So again, if you're a wave rider, getting out there learning to surf, you're going to double, maybe triple your sessions in the waves and expand your skill set and your practice. If you wanted to get into freestyle, if you took up wakeboarding and started practicing your air tricks at a cable park, all of a sudden it goes from, oh, you're trying this trick once every 3 weeks, once a week at best, unless you take a trip to Brazil or something. All of a sudden you're going wakeboarding. If you have that option with a cable park nearby, you can ride every day. You can try that air trick every single day and get that repetition in, and then bring it back to the kite. And I suppose for you big air riders out there, there's not a ton of crossover. That's the one unique thing. Kiteboarding, kite loops, that's really the only thing you can do. But your fitness helps a lot, because a lot of that comes down to core strength. So if you have good core strength, good control of your body, spatial awareness, things like that, I think that strength training, yoga, whatever, all that is going to come back and help you out exponentially. So yeah, just my thoughts for the day, just trying to change some of the conversations going around out there. So when you're talking to other kiters and you're mentioning kiteboarding being, 85% kite or whatever it is, remember to add in the caveat that that's only when you're new, and when you're ready to progress, it really becomes 50-50. And if you want to move forward, don't forget cross-training and staying in shape. So if you guys found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you next time.